I got a very interesting question that did not make it into viewer questions for this week. And I'm going to answer the question. The question is, David, did you ever have an encounter with just an overtly racist person in your life? Yes. Yes, I have many, many times. Now, I have two stories. These are just two anecdotes. Okay. These are two anecdotes. And I could give you dozens of these anecdotes, but I'm going to give you two. One is anti-Semitic, and Jews, it's a religion and an ethnicity. And I consider anti-Semitism a form of racism. You can call it xenophobia, whatever. I consider it a form of racism. So let me give you two examples. Okay. First one is an anti-Semitic example. Some of you may remember that I once worked at the now defunct electronics chain, Circuit City. Now, after working at Circuit City, I later was hired by a company that marketed high-speed internet. This was when high-speed internet was relatively new. Some people still had like the dial-up, that type of internet. And getting onto high-speed internet was something that was, sort of for the elite, I guess you would say. So the company that I worked for promoting high-speed internet would have me in different stores. Sometimes they would send me to a Best Buy. Sometimes they would send me to a Circuit City. And once I ended up in the very same Circuit City that I previously worked at. And I walk over to an employee who works at Circuit City, and I was friendly with all of the employees there. And the guy says to me, I just had the most Jewish customers. And of course, as soon as I hear that, bang, my radar goes up and I go, really? What do you mean by that? What do you mean that they were Jewish? And he says, they kept asking for a deal. Like they really want a deal. And I go, oh, right. Because white customers don't want deals, right? And like Hispanic, nobody else wants a deal. Just Jews want deals. And he goes, no, but it was just like these people were so cheap. And I go, I'm Jewish, right? And he goes, oh, I shouldn't have said it in front of you. No, the problem is thinking this stuff. Yes, it wasn't a great idea to say it in front of me, but the problem was that you believe this stuff. Okay, so that's just like, it's overt xenophobia, racism, call it whatever you want. All right, so that's one example. Second example, at our old studio, when we were in Boston and we had the studio in downtown Boston, it was an office building with a number of floors, and each floor had a number of different businesses. And there was a business on the floor. I'm not even going to say what type of business it was because there's only one of these types of business in the building. And for a while, this was our mailing address and people could easily figure out what business it was. But there was a business there. And the guy who ran the business, he would often make pseudo inappropriate comments. Like they weren't overtly necessarily racist, but it was like not so good. He would comment about, the racial makeup of some of the kind of like Skid Row type places in Boston and this type of thing. And we had this day where I had behind me, we had this very old, like 65-inch TV. The TV just got old. We were revitalizing the studio. I didn't need this TV anymore. And as some of you may know, you can't just put a 65-inch TV in the trash. You have to arrange for its disposal or find like an electronics recycling day or whatever. So I said, I don't even have a vehicle big enough to transport this thing. Rather than rent a U-Haul, I'll just call one of these disposal companies, like my 1-800-MY-TRASH or something like that. And they show up and they get rid of it. So I call the company and they make an appointment. They go, sir, with tears in their eyes. They said, we love taking TVs out. We'll be there. We'll take the TV out. No problem whatsoever. So the disposal professionals show up and it happens to be two black guys. Now, the building, there's security at the lobby. And then there's security on the floor and there's security to get, there's like a door, with the doors locked to our studio. So it's like 3 layers of security. There aren't random people walking around here. And this guy comes out of the racist guy. He comes out of the bathroom and he sees 2 black guys carrying a 65-inch TV towards the elevator, which is what I had contracted them to do. And he runs up to me out of breath and he goes, David, do you know that a TV was removed from here? Do you know that they're taking a TV? And I'm like, you mean the guys with the 1-800-MY-TRASH shirts that have passed 3 layers of security to get rid of the TV that I'm paying them to get rid of? He goes, yeah. I'm like, yeah, they passed 3 levels of security and they're getting rid of the TV. I contracted them. And he goes, oh, and it's just so obvious. And he says, oh, it looked a little weird. So I just wanted to make sure that this was not, what, a burglary in the middle of the day after getting through 3 layers of security and having to go out through 3 layers of security. And I guarantee you, if it was 2 white guys, this guy was not going to express concern. So anyway, 2 little anecdotes that may be more relevant to some people than to others, but there we are.